Hello. I think we're going to breeze through everything quite quickly today, and unfortunately today might be a quite quick night. I have a few topics. I wanna quickly go through them, talk about them. Hello. And then I guess we're going to I will let whoever is watching quite quickly go today. And unfortunately today might be a quite things happening. Quick There's been an assassination attempt, the second one topics in recent I wanna quickly go through them, talk about them. Yes. And then I guess presidential candidate Donald Trump is I not will as let whoever is watching quite favored among the people as unfortunately today might be a quite things happening. A very quick There's been an assassination attempt, the second one in recent I wanna quickly go through them, talk about them. Yes. And then I guess presidential candidate Donald Trump like I will let whoever is watching quite favored among the people as unfortunately today might be a quite things happening. A very quick There's been an assassination attempt, the second one got it in recent I wanna quickly go. Alright. End of echo. Hold on, let me check something. Really? Alright. That is pretty pretty sad. Hold on, I have to refresh. Hope things will. Oh my god, how depressing. Peak trash. Oh, hello. Ellen Degenerate After Hours. Poland is underwater? Yes, because it's flooded. There's a big flood in the region. Hello, Thai. There's a big flood in the region. Hold on. It affects Czech Republic, it affects Poland, and it affects Romania as well, I believe. I'm gonna talk about it briefly. There's like a state of natural disaster emergency. About 16 people have died. It's still not the levels of 1997 floods in Poland, where when a lot more people died, a lot more stuff was devastated. But it's still a pretty heavy situation in some areas of Poland. I have actually some pretty. I might as well give you an illustration of what's happening. I don't see why not. No, where I am, it's pretty safe. It's pretty safe where I am, but there are regions of Poland definitely that have not been as lucky. I guess I would say it like that. There are places in Poland that are not as lucky. Hold on. Because today I'm a little all over the place. I am a little all over the place today. Hold on. The big topic that I wanted to talk about though is the assassination attempt, or not exactly the assassination attempt itself, but the whole misinformation racket that has been a result. You need to do more Polish history, please. I will. I will, definitely. Hello, Szczepan Kobylarz. Have you considered joining the page? Also, how did you find my stream? Do you live in Poland? Are you a Polish person living in Poland? Or do you watch any other political streamers that talk about Ukraine or Poland? Are you at all into the whole political streamer sphere? Or did you just find me? We're gonna be doing a lot more Polish-Lithuanian comment. Actually, I'm preparing a topic about the history of Polish-Ukrainian relations. President Sunday. So you watch President Sunday mainly? Do you watch any other streamers? Do you watch any streamers that cover Ukraine, for example? Like, I don't know. There are a few streamers that cover Ukraine, like Rick the Ukrainian, Mercado Media, Dylan Burns. Do you watch any of these people? Okay, we have this. I've prepared this, so I might as well show you something. Okay, that's artwork. We don't need this anymore. We're gonna show you Poland underwater. More places are underwater. Is this a new video? Not much time in a day, so we have talked on President Sunday's Discord. Oh, we have? Really? Have we talked on President Sunday's Discord? What have we talked about? This is from 1 day ago, this video. I might as well watch some of it.
Te słowa.
I just want to show you the the flooded areas. I don't really want to go through the news. Oh, come on! I don't care about politicians bickering. Okay, so southern parts of Poland are underwater. We should be able to see some images. Flooded Polish, like, there you go. Oh, right. Okay, I remember now. Thank you for reminding me. So this is like, as you can see, Poland's pretty flooded, right? As you can see, the situation in some places in Poland is not very happy, not very cheerful. About 16 people have died, actually. Ukraine has declared sending 100 rescuers along with specialized equipment in order to assist Poland in its flood, which is a pretty strong gesture considering that Ukraine is a country engulfed in war and has, let's just say, it has a lot of problems to worry about. But as you can see, in certain parts of Poland, the situation is pretty serious. As you like the as the photographs sort of indicate. I think the theme of today's stream will be misinformation, spreading of misinformation, spreading of narratives, and trying to use any situation possible in order to push an agenda. There is a very nefarious trend. I'm not sure if, well, it's not a new thing. This has been something that existed basically forever. In Poland, it used to be something that has been used as a weapon by the government against the people. And what I'm talking about is taking information, twisting the information, and using it to attack a perceived opponent or to push an agenda or to further a goal. That has been the purview of the old Polish quote-unquote communist government through its censorship, through its mass media, through all channels of information. It would take certain pieces of news, of reality, and it would sort of twist it to sort of, for example, paint the West as an aggressor that is trying to poison potatoes to starve Poland, right? That's been sort of like a narrative that the West has been sort of spraying potatoes with chemicals or something in order to create like a dangerous situation. That sort of thing, that sort of misinformation has been. And of course, the rise of the Polish underground media, which I guess we are entering a little bit the realm of history when we discuss these sort of things. The rise of Polish underground, dare I say, alternative media, newspapers, books. Of course, the only alternative to the Polish state TV and radio was Radio Free Europe. Those sort of underground alternative media task themselves with providing citizens with truthful information and with fighting against the misinformation. And so we're gonna go for a few cases of this sort of misinformation being spread today, and we're gonna analyze what sort of narratives possibly could be pushed through such means. For example, this flood, and there is also sort of a common thread among these. There's a common thread among these things, and we're gonna sort of discuss this as well, what it could possibly mean. This is a natural disaster, a flood. Poland has been, not only Poland, of course, the Czech Republic and a few other countries has been flooded as well. And what sort of thing could be pushed at a time like this to spread some misinformation, to create divisions, to try to, let's just say, undermine efforts? Well, for example, people who want to spread anti-Ukrainian narrative, people who want to persuade the public that supporting Ukraine is a bad idea, will say, hey, Poland should be having more transport choppers. Poland is short on transport choppers, and that is because we have given all of them to Ukraine. Which at this point has been something that it's already been basically debunked by the government itself, which has stated that this is misinformation and no transport choppers have been handed over to Ukraine. That created the shortage in the current situation when it comes to rescue efforts during the flood. But this is just an example of how something completely unrelated to war in Ukraine, something completely unrelated seemingly to aid to Ukraine, has been co-opted by certain people in order to spread misinformation and in order to create this story of how Poland has given so much to Ukraine that it now does not have the means to help and evacuate people from flooded areas. And I would also once again remind what I've said just some time ago when I started discussing this topic, that Ukraine itself has announced that it will send 100 personnel of sort of rescuers along with specialized equipment in order to help Poland in this, well, trying time. As you can see, in some areas of Poland, the situation has become quite serious, right? I love how this is just a bunch of photos, and it says, thank you for reading our article. Thank you for reading our article that only sort of has a bunch of photos and nothing else. I'm off to sleep, but I'm not stopping to listen. Hope for informed full stream. Thank you. So I guess we did the topic sort of out of order. I apologize. I wanted to start with the presidential assassination attempt, but today I am a bit let's just say, all over the place. Let's just say that I am a bit of a agent of chaos. I am a bit chaotic today. I have a lot of chaotic energy today. So yes, good night, Szczepan Kobylarz. I'm not sure if you said that you spoke Polish or not. Right, I guess we can go to the assassination thing. I honestly only have like 2-3 topics for today. I'm a bit wonky. I'm a bit well, I'm a bit today. So let's just get into this. There's been a whole new assassination attempt on Trump's life. Another one. Well, this one was far less sort of dangerous than the last one. The perpetrator waited for Trump at a golf course, a Florida golf course, but has been thwarted because the Secret Service agents sort of stopped him before he was able to fire even a single shot. There were shots fired, but the shots were fired by the Secret Service forces, and then they forced the assailant to retreat. They tracked him down, arrested him, and now I suppose he faces charges. But that's not the interesting part to me, or at least that's not the important part to this whole situation. The more interesting story about the failed assassin of Donald Trump is his sort of story and the narratives built around him, the no time wasted by certain people to paint him in a certain light, to paint him as a far more influential figure than he is. And well, let's get into it. Good tidings and good health to Lucy. The stream was kinda chaotic, Lucy. Thank you. Thank you very much for the $20. So the person's name is Ryan Weasley Routh. Ryan Weasley Routh. A very, very interesting figure. I believe he is around 57. He's definitely 50 something years old. He is very. He subscribes to very diverse political opinions. He's extremely pro Ukraine, and we will get into that in a moment. He is extremely pro Taiwan, pro Iran, in this sort of strange way that he was extremely pro nuclear deal that has been botched by Donald Trump, which apparently was the turning point in which Ryan decided that he does not like Trump anymore. And I'm saying anymore because Ryan voted for Trump in 2016. So he was a Trump voter in 2016. Extremely pro-Taiwan, extremely pro-Ukraine. A big advocate when it comes to the issues of homeless people. In Hawaii, he apparently was an organizer of shelters for the homeless. And Also, very strangely enough, very weird combination. He was, in addition to that, an anti-vaccine COVID denier, conspiracy theorist. So as you can see, his political beliefs were a mishmash of different things. When Donald Trump sort of made a mess of the nuclear deal that was between the US and Iran, Ryan reportedly urged Iran to assassinate Donald Trump. So that was the thing that happened. But what I want to focus on today, because that is the theme of tonight, I'm sure that many other people will discuss in detail all the politicians that this person has supported. I am sure that many other people will cover in more detail his motive as to why he wanted to assassinate Donald Trump and his beliefs around that. But what I want to focus on today, what I want to focus on is how his pro-Ukrainian stance basically is used again as a narrative tool by certain people in order to paint him almost as a Ukrainian asset, someone that has influence, someone that has big connections to the Ukrainian government, someone that is basically almost sent by Ukraine in order to assassinate Donald Trump, because Donald Trump would end the war in one day and would end, as someone put it, the endless money train to Ukraine. As you can see, the narrative has been co-opted very quickly, while reality on the situation is quite a lot more mundane. A lot more mundane. Ryan has been enough of a big fan of Ukraine that he has traveled there in order to enlist, in order to fight on the side of Ukraine, the 50-something-year-old man. And he has been, for various reasons, rejected due to his, among other things, age, due to his lack of experience, due to his overall unique demeanor, let's just say. And from then on, he has shifted to trying to get as many people as possible to sort of convince them to come to Ukraine to fight, saying that he's ready to give his life for Ukraine, and that basically he positioned himself as this big recruiter for the Ukrainian cause. That's basically what we are seeing. After the assassination, several people have come forward to say that because of that, he must have been surely That Ryan surely must have been basically a Ukrainian asset. That Ryan must have been a Ukrainian asset. On others, we have Sagar from Breaking Points that he co-hosts with Crystal. And this person has tweeted the following. We're gonna go through this sort of bit by bit. This person has tweeted the following. The alleged Trump shooter spoke to the New York Times in 2023, where he claimed he was in DC to meet with the pro-Ukraine Helsinki Commission staffed by bipartisan pro-Ukraine members of Congress. Interesting claim. It makes it seem like Ryan has made some legitimate contacts with the Ukrainian government. It makes it seem that that contact has been established, that he became sort of intertwined, that sort of further implicates the Ukrainian government in the assassination attempt itself, right? In the interview, Mr. Routh said he was in Washington to meet with the US Commission on Security and Cooperation in Europe, known as the Helsinki Commission, for 2 hours to help push for more support for Ukraine. The commission is led by members of Congress and staffed by congressional aides. It is influential on matters of democracy and security and has been vocal in supporting Ukraine. Screenshot number 2. U.S. House of Representatives, U.S. Senate. So that is basically, and let us remind ourselves that Breaking Point is something that presents itself as a legitimate station, as a legitimate source of news, legitimate source of information, something that should be trusted, something that would not spread misinformation, right? The alleged Trump shooter spoke to the New York Times in 2023. Okay, then let's look at that article from 2023 and let's see what it actually says, shall we? Shall we take a look at the actual article from 2023 to see just how legitimate those connections that Ryan has established with the government were? Okay? Let's check it out. Because I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to learn from Breaking Points. So what does the article say? I don't really have a subscription to New York Times, but we can just read the headline. Unfortunately, we cannot view the whole article as I am not subscribed to New York Times, but let's see. The New York Times article says, "Stolen valor, the US volunteers in Ukraine who lie, waste, and bicker." That is something that Breaking Point's presenter has failed to mention in his tweet. People who would not be allowed anywhere near the battlefield in a US-led war um, are active on the Ukrainian front with ready access to American weapons. Stolen valor, the US volunteers in Ukraine who lie, waste, and bicker. So that's a little bit of like a misleading framing, right? I feel a little bit misled. I feel a little bit sort of like what's happening here? I thought breaking points was a legitimate source of information. I thought they were supposed to not lie to me. But I guess, and this is this sort of thing that we will be seeing when it comes to this case over and over and over again, that because this guy went to Ukraine, because he tried fighting in Ukraine, because he acted as this recruiter for people to go and fight in Ukraine as well, that means he basically has to be uh, a stooge almost for the Ukrainian government, and uh, he has to he has to be this connection point between the Ukrainian government and the failed assassination of Donald Trump. Of course, this whole thing has been quickly caught on by people like Dmitry Medvedev from Russia, who has said, I wonder what would happen if it turned out that the failed new Trump shooter, Routh, who recruited mercenaries for the Ukrainian army, was himself hired by the neo-Nazi regime in Kiev for this assassination attempt. Already Russia is sort of creating a big narrative for all of the so-called alternative media to follow suit. This person was hired actually by the Ukrainian government in order to assassinate Donald Trump because he will not be as pro aid to Ukraine as Joe Biden or as Kamala Harris. We've already sort of starting to see these sort of narratives emerge. But the official International Legion of Defense Intelligence of Ukraine, so the official International Legion Twitter account has issued an official statement. Let's see what it says. Let's see what it says about our official recruiter of mercenaries to fight in Ukraine. Let's see what the official statement is, okay? The official statement is as follows. American citizen Ryan Ralph has never served in the International Legion of the main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, has no relation to the unit. Rumors disseminated in certain media are not true. So we've already seen that the narrative of this official recruiter of mercenaries for the Ukrainian International Foreign Legion, this big shot who has connections to the Ukrainian government, who has been recruited by the Ukrainian government in order to supposedly try to assassinate Donald Trump. We already see that this is a very weak narrative, very easily disprovable narrative. The reality of situation is a lot more simple, and that reality is that this person went to Ukraine, attempted to join some sort of a combat unit. He tried to take part in active combat. He was not allowed to due to his lack of experience and age. He then started on his own without any affiliation of any official structures, recruiting people also without experience in order to fight in Ukraine, which, as far as I know, has not been a gigantic success. And that activity, this is where I say that misinformation takes certain actual facts that happen and twist them in order to attack some enemy. In this case, the enemy would be Ukraine. Or push a narrative. In this case, the narrative would be the Ukrainian is plotting to get rid of Donald Trump, who is the biggest threat to continued funding, and did it through its agent Ryan, the big recruiter of mercenaries for the Ukrainian forces, who then has been sent on a special mission in order to assassinate the presidential candidate. Wow. That is so crazy, isn't it? Well, unfortunately, none of it is even remotely true. Unfortunately, none of it makes even a lick of sense. So this is where we are at right now. The alternative media will most probably, some already have, some alternative media like Breaking Points have already taken on this narrative of this person being basically a Ukrainian agent. This narrative is extremely easily debunkable. It is actually true with most of these narratives. All you have to do is do a minimum amount of research to find pieces of factual information that will disprove the narrative. But the sad reality to this situation is that many people who subscribe to those alternative media outlets, to those alternative media channels, depend on them primarily as their source of information, as their source of news, as their source of truth about the world. Which means that they will not look into the New York Times article. They will not see that the article speaks of stolen valor and lying. They will not see that the International Legion has absolutely denied any ties to this person. They will not see that this person just went on to Ukraine on his own, was rejected from taking part in any combat, and has decided to recruit people on his own. They will not see that this person has absolutely zero ties in any capacity with the Ukrainian government. No, they will listen to Mr. They will listen to Mr. Sagar from Breaking Point saying that obviously Ryan Roof was a lunatic, but he was also a lunatic who was deeply enmeshed in the Ukraine mercenary cause and credible enough to be quoted by multiple news outlets. Credible enough to be quoted by multiple news outlets. Ukraine and Congress must answer questions as to whether they met directed resources to him. See, this alternative media little thing. We're just asking questions. This guy went to Ukraine. This guy was quoted in a newspaper. Doesn't that mean that he possibly had actual connections to the Ukrainian government? Doesn't that mean that probably, maybe the Ukrainian government could have directed resources at him? It's possible. We're just, we're just asking some questions here. We're just being the alternative media. We're giving you the news that the establishment will never give you. But you know what? Breaking Points will not mention to you that um, the credibility of being quoted by multiple news outlets is basically the New York Times saying that he's doing stolen valor and lying. That is not something that you will hear from the alternative media that will try to craft a narrative about a secret agent sent on a special mission by the Ukrainian government to assassinate the president or the presidential candidate. Oh yeah. We're not really gonna focus on his weird politics, his weird inconsistent politics, and the people that he sort of supported. What I want to focus on is this conspiracy theory that Russia pushes with Medvedev, who already has issued a statement, a post that basically Ryan is a Ukrainian agent, alongside with the so-called independent media that will of course eat it up and push this narrative to their pretty big audiences. And that is the worst part about it. This easily disprovable misinformation will still, no matter what, be believed by many people, because there are many people that only look to breaking points for a source of information, that only look for Tim Pool when it comes to information, etc., etc. There are people that only watch those alternative media channels, sites, etc., to sort of try to figure out what the truth is, and they get fed with total misinformation. And they will not listen to this sort of thing. Oh, they will not listen to Sagar saying Ukrainian Congress must answer questions as to whether they met directed resources to Ryan. No, they will not listen to this and say, that's weird. Let me look into some alternative sources of information to see if this is true. Let me look into this guy. Let me see if any of this connection to the government of Ukraine is even remotely true. He's been quoted in the media, newspapers. Let me look at the newspaper article to see what it actually said about him. Right? Well, I don't really claim to be like this big source of info. That's also like a big difference. I don't claim to be this big source of information that you should go to and ignore all other sources. When I say something, you should double, triple, quadruple check it in different sources. You should listen to what I say, go to a different source of information, read it, listen to it, and see if what I say even tracks with people that talk on similar issues. You should have a diverse source of information, you know? It should be like a thing that you do if you want to be informed, and if you don't want to be duped into believing some conspiratorial nonsense. I don't claim to be some great anti-establishment only source of truth that will tell you how it is like nobody else. No, I try my best to give you my understanding of the situation. I try to give you my opinion on a given topic, and I encourage you strongly to take what I say and look to other sources to see if what I'm saying isn't a bunch of nonsense and misinformation. What if he was an agent? You're right. There's also some more. Edward Snowden. I used to work for the government, but now I work for the public. Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden says, I'm gonna show you this freedom fighting, go get 'em journalist that also will tell you how it is, will never mislead you. Let me see. This is so deep. This is the deepest commentary I've seen in a while. Let me see. We know little so far, but the alleged Trump shooter's via alleged Trump shooter's personal and public participation in military activity in Ukraine, which already, right off the bat, lying right off the bat, there was no participation in military activity in Ukraine. There was none. Personal and public participation in military activity. His whole military activity in Ukraine was that he went there, he wanted to participate in combat, got rejected, and then decided to try to recruit people to come and fight on his own accord. That is all. That is his whole personal and public, quote unquote, participation in military activity in Ukraine. But you can take that and spin it. You can always take that and add some, spice it up a bit. Yeah. It is hard to imagine this White House's agencies can claim zero contact. Clean hands. Thank you for the $10. Thank you for the $10, fake Kal Parker. So it is hard to imagine this White House's agencies can claim zero contact, clean hands, something of an Oswald vibe here. Congress should get answers. It's just, this is conspiratorial nonsense at its worst. In DC and Kyiv to provide soldiers for the war effort. And here is this guy's tweet. Please promote a global civilian army. Beg everyone to come to Ukraine and fight. I am willing to come to Ukraine and fight and die as an American to be an example for others. But I need your help with a media campaign to encourage others to come also. Please respond. So, does this strike you as a person that has some deep ties to White House's agencies? Does this guy strike you as some person that has some deep ties to the Ukrainian government? Does this guy even strike you as a person that has had personal and public participation in military activity in Ukraine? No, of course not. He just went there, boasted a lot, tried joining in, failed, and the rest is history. And then he went on to try to assassinate Donald Trump, which this is the main thing that I'm talking about. This is the main thing that I'm talking about. This narrative of taking a bunch of existing facts, okay? This is how misinformation is crafted. This is how narratives are formed. This is how these things happen. You take a bunch of factual things that happened, right? You take a guy that went to Ukraine, wanted to fight in Ukraine, was not allowed to fight in Ukraine, tried to recruit people to fight in Ukraine, and no, Edward Snowden just spread misinformation about the Ryan, the assassin, and then failed to kill Donald Trump. What can we do with these events? What can we do with these things that factually happened to spin a narrative? Well, since he went to Ukraine and tried to fight in Ukraine, well, that must mean that he has to have had some connection to the Ukrainian government. And he has been doing activities related to the military because he tried. And also he became a recruiter for the International Foreign Legion, because you see his activities. Do you see him recruiting? Surely that means that he has ties to the International Foreign Legion, right? And surely, since that person with all these connections, who was credible enough, mind you, to be interviewed by the press, surely since then he went on to try to assassinate the presidential candidate. It cannot be a coincidence that he also had a connection to the Ukrainian government and surely White House's agencies, right? Well, no, unfortunately. Unfortunately, the reality is pretty mundane. The guy went there, failed to join any sort of combat activity, was not a recruiter for the International Legion. The International Legion has, as we've read just before, has denied any sort of official cooperation with this dude, as well as the fact that the newspaper that has interviewed him, the headline says "Stolen Valor, Ukrainian Volunteers Who Lie." But you know, there's nothing like crafting a huge conspiracy with the explicit goal of painting the Ukrainian government in a certain light, and by extension, pointing the viewers, pointing the public in a certain directions with what they're supposed to conclude from this. Because what, of course, the alternative media like Breaking Points would like its audiences to conclude is, wait, Ukrainian government sent out an assassin to kill the presidential candidate of the US and we're still supporting them? We're still sending them billions of dollars. We're still sending them weapons. We're still wanting them to win. No way. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to send a government that sends assassins to kill US politicians. That is exactly the narrative that people that used to work for the government but now work for the public would love. They would love for the public to come to that conclusion. And I'll just end this because I've been just repeating myself a lot. It feels like I've just been repeating myself a lot. It is easy to craft misinformation. It is easy to craft completely false narratives. It is easy to craft conspiracy theories without any evidence, without any logic. It is easy to connect unrelated facts and to sort of add spice to them, to form opinions among your audiences. But unfortunately, these alternative media outlets have big outreach. These alternative media outlets have big audiences, which is, of course, why the Russian government has seen this and have even reached out to some of these creators via shell companies and paid them a lot of money to spread that misinformation. This is why it is so extremely important when you hear this sort of a narrative being spun in front of your eyes to think, I should probably check what other sources of information say about this. I should probably check if this is even true. An article is being mentioned. I should probably look at the article and see what it actually says. Things like that. But a lot of people will not do it. A lot of people will not do it. And this is how misinformation gets spread. This is how attitudes are shaped. This is how you get people that say, hey, you know what? There was this guy who tried to kill Donald Trump. Interestingly enough, with connections, very active in the Ukrainian army, tried, with the connections to the government, tried to kill the presidential candidate that would like to stop the endless train of free money for Ukraine to launder. Because, of course, I don't know if there's anything else to say about the subject. I think I've sort of exhausted it. I hope that made sense. Does that make sense? Did any of this make sense? Factual distortion is called lying. I mean, that is something that the alternative media are pretty good at. Lying is something that the alternative media are pretty good at, as it turns out. I'm pretty sure there are sort of streamers that will give you a lot more detail when it comes to who this guy is. He's still alive. So who this guy is, what his very strange political beliefs are, and trust me, those political beliefs are very strange. When someone's pro-Taiwan, anti-homelessness, pro-Ukraine, but at the same time is a anti-vaccination COVID conspiracist, it's sort of like it's a very interesting mix of beliefs, to say the least. The politicians that he has endorsed in the past a Trump voter in 2016 that has turned against Trump because he um, made a mess of the Iran deal. Very interesting character. Very interesting character. But what I wanted to focus on today is the whole Ukraine connections conspiracy angle that some alternative media representatives have pushed together with a certain Russian politician's Medvedev. Interesting enough. Yeah, double, triple, quadruple check sources. When you listen to me talk about a subject, when I give some sort of an opinion on what happened, what I think about a subject, what I believe is the truth, quote unquote, then you should think to yourself, hey, Lucy just said this. I should probably check what other sources are talking about this. I should probably see if any of this is not complete nonsense. I should probably check if none of this is complete, misinformation. I mean, I'm not telling you to sort of think that I'm spreading misinformation, but I'm telling you to sort of, um, check if my opinions have any basis in reality, basically. All right, that's my second topic for the day. I'm very proud of us. We have done well. We have done very, very, very well. I have, I guess, a final topic for today. I must admit, I'm not in the best of shapes. So I will do the third topic. The third topic that really interested me because let's just say it's a doozy. The first segment of today was me talking a bit about Polish flooding, how Poland has found itself in the south regions underwater. Not just Poland, also the Czech Republic, Romania, I believe, also has found itself underwater because of the giant. Like there was a lot of rain, there's a lot of flooding. How even that topic has been used to spread anti-Ukraine misinformation. Even this completely unrelated natural disaster topic has been used to say, for example, hey, Poland does not seem to have enough rescue helicopters. Why is that? Oh, it's because Poland has given all of those to Ukraine and has not left any for itself to be now able to rescue people that are getting flooded. Well, no, it's actually completely untrue. Poland has not given out all of its transport helicopters to Ukraine. That created this deficit in helicopters to rescue people. In fact, the reality of the situation is that it's Ukraine that has declared sending 100 rescuers along with specialized equipment in order to assist Poland in this time of flood. So, as you can see, any topic is good to spread misinformation, to spread narratives, to forward an agenda, whatever that agenda may be at the time. In this case, it's as always limiting aid to Ukraine. Even if the pretense to do that is the most ridiculous thing. But again, the reality of the situation is that certain people only look to the so-called alternative media for facts. Certain people only look to certain public figures for their information, and they will eat up the misinformation. They will eat up the straight up lies and treat it as fact and look into it no further. I guess this little explanation to what the first topic was was a good opportunity for me to, I don't know, sort of stress this point once more. Like, the misinformation is rampant. It's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. More people are buying into these lies, which is exactly as I've said already before, which is why the Russian government has seen that it's happening, has seen that there are many people that don't really trust, for example, journalists that provide coverage from the ground saying what's actually happening. A lot of people don't trust these people. A lot of people rather trust pundits from alternative media, politicians, and Russia has caught wind of this, created some shell companies, and decided, we're gonna give you some money for just, do you do you. We're gonna encourage you with some financial incentives, and maybe we're gonna give you some topic, sort of, we're gonna give you some, right? We're gonna give you some assistance in your content. We're gonna give you some suggestions as to, sorry? So yeah, now we can go to the third topic. Hello, Philippe August. I see you have chosen me once again over your other favorite streamer. Hello, Philippe August. So this third topic will be the finishing topic for today. I find it very interesting. I'm surprised no other person has picked it up, but here we are. It's like more of a novelty of a topic. It's more of a little bit of an interesting thing. Have you heard of a little country called Georgia? Have you ever heard of a country called Georgia? This little country that, let me pull it up here, because this one's interesting. This little country from which Joseph Stalin hails. That's right, Joseph Stalin hailed from Georgia. Did you know that in 2008 there was a war? Long story short, there were terrains, which might sound familiar to you, by the way, if you are following what happened in Ukraine. Certain regions in Georgia, via separatists that were backed by Russia, have announced their independence and sort of started shelling Georgian territories. There was a war which basically ended up with Russian annexation of those terrains that have announced their independence, and those regions were South Ossetia and Abkhazia. Those were the regions that were sort of that have decided to go their way, independent way, backed by Russian separatists. Which, of course, the international community does not recognize that that these territories are not part of Georgia. They are still recognized as part of Georgia, just as in that other case in Ukraine that you might be familiar with. The Russian aggression is sort of, in this case, considered totally unreasonable. Well, in most cases, illegal and not good. But you know what? There are people that would disagree. There are people that would completely disagree with this assertion because, as I've just learned today, Georgia's top oligarch says country owes an apology for being invaded by Russia. As it turns out, according to the top oligarch of Russia, who also happens to be a member of the pro-Russian Dream Party that is currently in charge of the country, that has drafted and pushed the so-called anti-foreign agent bill. That means that any body in Georgia receiving any funding from abroad must register themselves as a foreign agent. This oligarch says that, you know what? Georgia, in fact, the people of Georgia owe Russia an apology for being invaded by Russia. You know, they say that reality is much more weird, funny, whatever you want to call it, than fiction. They say that we live in a very interesting times. I've never expected the most powerful man in a country to say, you know what? That time that we were invaded by a foreign country, that time that part of our territory was basically annexed by a foreign entity, what we should actually do, what I believe we should do, is we should humbly apologize. We should humbly apologize for forcing Russia's hand to invade us. Again, same principle, it sounds like it could be turned into a masturbatory hubris thing, leading to unintended consequences, scary arms racing, underestimated costs, oligarchs overreaching. I mean, this is just a case of a person being in lockstep with the moon thing. No, we're not talking about the moon thing today. Apologies, I only have 3 topics prepared for today. So yeah. It says here, Russia recognized South Ossetia and another breakaway region, Abkhazia, as independent states. Russia recognized those as independent states following the Russian troops' attack on Georgia in reaction to the country's attempt to reassert control over the regions in a 5-day war in 2008. It's okay. Most of the people that were Georgian were expelled from those regions by the pro-Russian rebels, which again might remind you of certain events in Ukraine, of the displacement of people and then the referendums that followed. You might be reminded of certain events you might even start thinking that Russia has a certain modus operandi when it comes to these things. That's, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that I'm just seeing a pattern when it comes to Russia supporting independence of certain regions in the world. Bidzina Ivanishvili, a billionaire ex-prime minister who is the lead candidate of the ruling pro-Russian Georgian Dream Party in an October 26th election, said the criminal regime of former President Mikhail Saakashvili triggered the war on the orders of foreign powers. According to Georgian public broadcaster One TV. So basically, Georgia, with its crooked president, have basically provoked Russia to invade and should apologize. Former President Saakashvili is currently serving a 6-year prison sentence for alleged abuse of power. Saakashvili himself, as well as his supporters, claim his imprisonment is politically motivated. And now we have the quotation from the oligarch himself. Immediately after the October 26 elections, those who instigated the war will face justice. Jesus. So that's Ivanishvili Bizya, the billionaire. Immediately after the October 26 elections, those who instigated the war will face justice, Ivanishvili said, adding that Georgians would then apologize for the war. He was speaking at a campaign event in the town of Gori, which was briefly occupied by Russian invasion forces during the 2008 war. Imagine running for president in your country and running your election on the slogan of "We will apologize for being invaded." What a campaign slogan. That is, I think that's that's the most brilliant campaign slogan I've ever heard in the history of presidential campaign. Move aside, make America great again. No, we will apologize for being invaded. That is the slogan that a real president will adopt. We will apologize for being invaded by a foreign power. Ivanishvili's party has been pushing a foreign agents bill modeled on a similar Russian law, which many see as an attempt to gag political opposition. The passing of the law might seriously hamper Georgia's ambitions to join the European Union. The law has been passed. Spoilers. Spoilers. A small and mountainous country that gained independence from the Soviet Union in 1991, Georgia is being courted by the West, Russia, and China, and many Georgians say the country is at crossroads as it heads into the next month's election. So what do you think? Do you think Georgia should apologize? Do you think Georgia owes Russia an apology? Do you think, in fact, that it should set a precedent? Do you think maybe all countries invaded by Russia should apologize? Should Ukraine be next to apologize? Should Ukraine say, we will apologize for 2014. We will apologize for 2022. Ukraine has a lot of apologizing to do, it seems. Chechnya should apologize as well. Afghanistan should apologize. Oh, and of course, Serbia should apologize as well. Because, you know, Russia has backed sort of things there as well. There's a lot of places that have a lot of apologizing to do to Russia. Because Russia has meddled and invaded many places. So Russia is owed a lot of apologies, it seems. I guess it is what I should end this on, right? Isn't that at the end of the day the most important message that we can derive from today's short stream? If there's anyone that deserves a heartfelt apology, it is Russia. Because nobody invades like Russia. It takes effort to invade. It takes dedication to invade. And I think, you know, Russia deserves some recognition, deserves some, you know, deserves an apology for being sort of forced to take such drastic steps. Makes sense to me. Can an apology even cut it at this point? I'm not even sure anymore. I mean, at the end of the day, it is up to Russia to accept or not accept an apology. It is not to us to it is not to us to decide if an apology cuts it. It's at the end of the day, that is at Russia's discretion. The country should either way apologize, and whether or not Russia will gracefully accept the apologies is a different matter. Oh, we've reached the end. Look what you made Russia do. Truer words were not said in a long time. All right, I guess we've reached the end of this stream. Apologies for it being this short, but it seems like I have had a rough day. Well, I'll see. Wait, maybe I'll do the thing that's sort of... Hold on. How many people are actually watching right now? 5? It's okay. I'll do my best. Thank you very much. I was wondering if I can, I don't know, rate somebody. Nope, it seems that I can't. Well, I'll see you. I'll see you. Bye-bye. I failed. I'll look into it. I always forget how to do it. Oh, you want to ask me something? Yes, okay. Ask away and then I'll end stream. In the meantime, maybe I will try to raid into someone. They seem to have like big problem with it. Alright, direct. Okay, I found it actually. Alright, we're gonna redirect our 5 viewers into someone. Icon rules, there you go. Alright. Also, what's the question? We are raiding into someone. What's your go-to hobby as a distraction from life? Drawing. I am the artist. Drawing is a big distraction for me. And doing things for certain people that are close to me. That makes me feel much better in life. I'm waiting a minute after the answer. And then I'll finish stream. Good night. I'll just wait for Greater Aid to say what they have to say. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for the $5. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well then, good night. I'll see you tomorrow. I hope tomorrow will be a bit less intense. Thank you very much. I'll see you. I'll see you. See you, see you. Thank you very much. Good night. Thank you. Have a okay. Thank you. I'll see you.